right, good morning, everyone. My name is Corey. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. As the disclaimer goes, I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research and do not invest in anything you are not willing to lose or hold for a very long time. Without further ado, let's get into the news for today. As you can see, the price of XRP is still sitting at 18 cents. There hasn't been much movement. We did see a rise to that 20-cent mark, but it looks like there's still a lot of indecision and not so much regulation. Nobody knows what to do with this thing, so for the time being, we will wait for that point where it shoots up to the moon and we never knew what was coming. Okay, moving on to our first tweet of the day. We've got Ajish Sadanand at Ajish Sadanand. Ripple and XRP gaining trust for their faster and easier remittance solutions, now allowed to operate in Singapore license-free. In the latest, the Singapore Monetary Authority has granted license-free operations reward to Ripple for its seamless and tamper-proof operations. This is the Monetary of Singapore Authority website directly. There are several different options to be checked on as far as time frame and service goes, and Ripple is basically checked off for 6 months from commencement. Commencement is 28th of July 2020, so 6 months past that date, Ripple is going to be allowed to operate in Singapore Monetary Authority without a license, providing digital payment token services. It is down here. We got to go all the way, and our Ripple Labs Singapore right here is approved for 6 months of digital token services after July 28th, 2020. Excuse me. Okay, moving on. Dactyl, a truly heroic doc tool. So Ripple's tool that they use to code their platform and come up with new solutions and do everything that is being used on the actual Ripple net system. They use a custom programming document called Dactyl that they built themselves and have been using for years, and because Ripple is a company that believes in open source, they are now making their code free and available to anybody who wants to try to use it. And you can find it on their GitHub. So at Ripple, we use a homegrown tool called Dactyl to compile and build our technical content as part of our docs as code approach. Dactyl is a static site generator similar to Jekyll Hugo. It's basically coding. At Ripple, we believe in the benefits of open source, so we make Dactyl available to developers under the permissive MIT open source license on our GitHub. So anybody who is a coder who is looking to get involved with coding on the Ripple system, well, go ahead and download Dactyl and you guys can get started. Here's a quote from Kevin Cage at Kevin_Cage_ 44,073,177,235 minus 35,720,464,868 XRP. So what are we talking about? So there are 44 billion XRP in circulation. 35.7 billion of those are owned by the XRP community. So the actual circulating supply right here should in turn look like that. Not many left on the open market for major institutions, is there? So when those guys are being forced to come on to the open market in order to buy their XRP for cross-border initiatives, then we are going to see a significant rise in price. There are going to be a lot of people that are coming into this market to try to get those last couple XRP that are available. Now I know we've got 55 billion or so in escrow as far as Ripple is concerned, but we have also heard plenty of pre-allocation theories as to why those are not being released into the public ecosystem, so we will see how that turns out. Moving on, Bullion Star at Bullion Star. I will give them a follow so we can get some new news on gold futures. COMEX secures a secrecy agreement with the CFTC under FOIA not to release the details to the public of its market maker program for the new 400-ounce gold futures contract hatched by LBMA because disclosure would likely cause competitive harm to COMEX. So basically what they are saying is that they're going to keep secret the price, and they've handed out these documents to let the financial world know that they are not going to release the actual price of what their 400-ounce gold futures contract is actually trading at. They're going to botch these prices because the theory is that they have no money in order to pay off the actual value of what gold is at right now. And if you looked at a couple sites where you can actually buy physical gold, you'll notice, or physical silver, you'll notice that gold and silver is selling physically at about a 24 to 30% higher price than it is on the paper markets. So there is a demand for silver and gold, and if you're watching traditional markets, you probably won't be able to see that because there is, just like the crypto markets, there's no price discovery because they are keeping the price down themselves. There will be no way to tell what the true price of these materials are on the actual stock market anymore because they're allowed to hide that price and keep it whatever they want. So the only way to really own the true value of gold and silver now is going to be owning it physically. So kind of scary that you won't be able to have that, but that's what they're doing in order to keep themselves afloat in these harsh economic times. All right, Craig Phillips is now on the board of directors at Ripple. It has been an honor serving the Treasury at Steve Mnuchin. I've been so proud to represent the administration's dynamic tax, regulatory, and economic policies. So this guy is in Washington next to Steve Mnuchin, shaking hands with him, knows him very well, has now been transferred from the government and has now moved to the Ripple administration board. So another major movement of people in Washington moving to the Ripple company. Now, if you can tell me another company that has Washington advisors and high government officials moving into their company, please let me know so that we can start talking about that as well. But I, for the life of me, cannot see that. Santander Bank says Ripple payment network outperforms cross-border competitors. So Santander, as we know, is a partner with Ripple. They have specifically said that they are running a Ripple node in their office. Banco Santander says its Ripple-powered payment app, OnePay FX, is giving its customers the ability to send cross-border transactions at far faster speeds than its competitors. This is exactly what we want to see. We want to see banks using XRP in order to provide some kind of competition to other banks so that when they see that they're saving a lot of money and they're making their customers happier and they're going to lose business if they don't transfer to this system, they're going to hop on board, and all of a sudden we're going to see those nodes boom, 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 start lighting up. All right, you can use FX transfers real time between the UK and continental Europe, and you can actually do Poland, Brazil, and Chile through Santander for the same cost as TransferWise. So using the XRP ecosystem, you can now do all of these cross-border transfers on the pennies. Okay, moving on, we've got XRPArcade.com. If you guys haven't seen this website, please go to XRP.com, XRPArcade.com, and check it out. There is a ton of information on anything that is related to XRP, from the deep dives that everybody's done right in the beginning, as far as even back in 2013, 2012, you can find some great articles on here as well. All right, so Bitbox is a digital asset exchange founded in Estonia in 2017, and its service center is based in China. It is one of the top exchanges listed on CoinMarketCap's ranking with $1.1 billion daily in volume trading. So Bitbox has now added support for XRP trading pairs against the euro and British pound and Swiss franc. So another market available to access XRP transactions between these fiat currencies. The idea is that the exchanges are going to be serving as these money transfer companies, and since banks don't need to have crypto assets on their books, they can go to these transfer companies, send them money, and then the transfer companies can deal with the exchange between the tokens so that it can get to another person. Now, if Ripple is in the background with their technology or their software built right into these exchanges, they can do these settlements instantly via the XRP ledger, so that when people change from let's say the euro to the British pound, it would actually go from euro to XRP to British pound in like 3 to 4 seconds, and then that person on the other end would pick up their British pounds. So it's good to see that another major exchange is picking up on the way that Ripple and XRP is working and making it easier for themselves to transfer money. Okay, that was a long one. Finally, looks like Ripple's ODL currency corridors from the US, Euro, and Mexican are opening up. Here's another screen grab of the XRP Ledger doing transactions, opening up its remittance corridors to different currencies. Looking at those numbers very, very quickly, I couldn't break them down, but we are going to move on. I just wanted to show you that all of these corridors are beginning to open up. It may be trickling in, but soon everybody is going to see the possibilities of saving money and incurred speed, and they're going to jump into this. So, we've got Zoom. All right, Zoom is an app developed by We'd Say Wind. It is a banking app. It is an app that you are going to be able to receive XRP for payment, like as if you received the dollar for, direct deposit. It's going to be a bank where you can hold your XRP just on your phone and transfer and pay for everything. It's going to be basically an all-in-one app to use XRP. And so we've got a bunch of developers that are working on integrations with the app and different codes and trying to find bugs and things like that. And so we've got Eddie O. Now we just need someone to be the first to develop a WordPress/WooCommerce Zoom Ecom plugin. So I said this would be a game changer in a tweet right underneath him. The reason that I think this is a game changer is because I think it's 70% of the internet is all WordPress sites, and WordPress sites attached to Amazon stores and Amazon Web Services, and one of the biggest plugins in WordPress is WooCommerce, and that's how you set up all these online stores. So imagine all the people like me who are at home doing YouTube shows, and they have WordPress sites just like this XRP Arcade website right here. And if this guy is, I think the owner is Leonidas now, if he wants to sell something on his website, like a t-shirt or some kind of fan base items or really anything, even digital goods as well, now this guy is trying to develop a way where you can use your XRP via that WooCommerce plugin inside of you know what I'm talking about, WordPress, instead of WordPress, excuse me. So that would be huge, absolutely huge. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm going to do a quick search. We're going to figure out how many sites use the WooCommerce plugin. All right, 31st of January 2020 is when this tweet came out. U.S. Department of Treasury, National Strategy for Combating Terrorist and Other Illicit Financing in 2020. So this is their key illicit financial details, financial threats, and key vulnerabilities that are exploited. So we've got money laundering, drug trafficking, terrorist financing, organizational crime, human trafficking and corruption, and those are all things that happen in our daily life that you don't see. And key vulnerabilities that are exploited, we've got digital assets that are part of this memorandum that they put out. Clarify or update our regulatory framework to expand coverage of digital assets. So the government is clearly looking into digital assets as a way of payment if they are trying to include them in this regulatory framework of protection. President Trump halts U.S. funding of the World Health Organization. So recently the World Health President Trump tonight confirmed that he will halt U.S. funding for the World Health Organization while U.S. reviews virus warnings regarding China. Today I am instructing my administration to halt the funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. So we've got Donald Trump moving in hard and swift to come and check out what the WHO has been up to. There are a lot of people who are involved in the WHO, one of which is Fauci, and another which is Bill Gates, and oh boy, I cannot find, oh, here we go. Okay, so another one of which is Bill Gates, and as we know, there is a significant amount of people that want to blame him for mass vaccinations and deaths and microchipping and moving the human race into a post-human civilization without us wanting to, all this all this stuff. There's a lot of conspiracy around it. I don't really want to get too far into it, but with the recent news with the epidemic or the pandemic or whatever, and Fauci and Bill Gates have both been on the hot stone for almost causing this whole thing, making this as big of a problem as it is, and then going back and blaming Trump for all of this. Now, I'm not getting into the arguments back and forth. All I'm trying to do is present the idea that, you know, maybe Donald Trump is pulling out of funding from the World Health Organization because he's noticing that there are so many mismanaged media stories, and getting the right information is impossible when the organization you're supposed to be getting your information from is being run by the very same people who believe in these idiotic and insane things to do to us as a population. So that's all I've got on that, really. I just wanted to show you that part of what is going on within our government is the fact that Donald Trump is also pulling us out of the WHO organization for the reason that he wants more information on how all of this went down, and he doesn't want mismanaged information. So one for the team, I'm saying. So let's take a jump to another direction. So we've got Roger Ver at Roger K. Ver. He's got a graphic right here. It's basically a Vesica Pisces, people who believe the virus is very real and very dangerous on the left, people who believe the government is using the virus as an excuse to take our rights on the right, and me in the middle. And that is a perfect description of how I feel in all of this. There is so much information to spread truth or convince you to either side, and I'm just trying to sit right in the middle to show everybody here the different opinions that are being thrown out and different ways that we can possibly handle the situation as this information comes out and starts to affect us. This is fake, okay? This tweet is only here to show you scams, all right? Thanks for sharing, Melanie Bakker, blah, blah, blah. She is zero. You know, she's got 77 followers. It's, who cares? They're putting out this tweet, hot news for crypto holders, about getting XRP. It is another scam. Please do not follow any of these crypto scams. Nobody will ever ask you for your no one will ever ask you to send crypto in order to get money back. I mean, it would, would you send somebody $10 and then get $100 back? I don't think anybody would be willing to do that at a dollar bill, and XRP is worth way more than a dollar bill. So I don't think that anybody would be like ready to actually do that without trying to scam you. So just be aware of scams, okay? A little light viewing right here. Here's the Pope. This has been some news that's been going around pretty lately. This is why I showed you that Vesica Pisces. Like, there's just so much stuff out there that you don't have truth to, and maybe one thing's interesting and maybe it was video edited, but it's interesting that these types of things are happening during this time. Like, people are looking out, people are questioning, people are saying, this is too much control. Like, what's going on? Now I need to research. Now I need to find out how am I going to conduct my life in the future? And then all of a sudden you start getting into these, you know, little conspiracy things, and then end up on videos like this where now we're believing that the Pope is a hologram. Yep, I said that. The Pope is a hologram. And during this video footage from somebody's direct television, I'm not going to play the sound. Maybe I'll play the sound. Who knows? But so this guy is on his TV, and take it with a grain of salt. Usually when they are, I don't know why the guy wouldn't have taken a shot straight at the television and why it has to be at this angle. But anyway, here we go.
It just disappears. It goes bye-bye.
Here we go. There's the Pope. And there. Oh man, I see. I can't even, it's really up. There we go. Boom. So there he is, gone. Now there's a couple things, if you can't probably see it, but there are these extra lines left over right here. There's a line right there. There is a line, and then right here, there's a couple little extra, you know, things. So it kind of looks like an outline, as if somebody just retook the picture and then boom. Now, however, this guy did get it, quote, off of his own television. So what's going on there? Okay, let's look at the CNBC website, check out what the stocks are going to be doing for today. We have been on a wild ride, up and up and down and up and up, and now we're in what looks like this, what people are calling this dead cat bounce. It looks like yesterday we were up another 500 points, and today we're down another 390 points. So really taking our time to move back up, seeing that V-shaped recovery that everybody's saying. But again, I do believe that this is a dead cat bounce, and we are going to see another drop to the downside. But don't take it from me, because as I say in every video, I am not a financial advisor. Now, one of the things that I have been weary about doing on this show is talking about the cell phone towers and 5G related hysteria around this pandemic. I'm not entirely sure how involved I want to be in with it, but I did put out that hour-long video about what it was and people's view on it and what kind of scientific research was being done about it. Like what angles there were to look at. So I went over and decided to keep looking, and I found this. It's called nperf.com, nperf.com. You guys should all take a look at it. You can look up inside the United States, you can look up all the cell phone coverages for all the different carriers and see which ones are already initiated with 5G. So now you can look live to see which cell phone towers have 5G enabled. Now, on our last video, we talked and I said that it would be reasonable to see that both the virus cases, cell phone tower coverage, and higher population, those three factors, no matter where you look in a map, are all going to be hot zones, because more people contract a larger base of viruses because there are more people involved, and you're going to have a higher cell phone coverage in an area with higher populated people, because you need more coverage to account for that amount of people. Now, what I really wanted to try to do was zoom in, and I'm going to leave this to anybody who watches this video. Please comment down below, ask questions, do whatever you need to do, but to keep it short for the video, I'm not going to go into it. I did, however, do this on my own. I just want to hear from you, okay? Now look at these different areas, okay, that have 5G enabled, and it's not like none of the areas are like completely widespread. Maybe New York is pretty widespread, and we know that there's the highest cases in New York. We know that Albany is having some trouble there, right? And we can see that 5G is turned on in Albany as well. Another one is Cleveland, Ohio. There was a specific town in Cleveland that was experiencing a rise in cases, and it just so happens that, well, Cayuga Valley is down here. They had a pretty high rate of infection, and then there was another town somewhere right here that was experiencing a significant amount of virus activity. Now, if somebody really wants to deep dive, you can go into the specific towns and you can see which towns are being affected most. Now, all these purple lines right here, those are all 5G. So those are currently turned on. So it would be smart if somebody went through and said, hey, let's go compare the COVID cases to the towns that have 5G turned on, if you wanted to do that. Now we can go, and I'll do this live right now, okay? So, or not live, but it is recorded, but I'll do it while I'm recording it. So we've got that Hopkins COVID map, right? John Hopkins heat map. This is sponsored also by the World Health Organization, so whatever. So we'll go to the US, take a look at the US right here. All right, and we can see we've got New York, There's Cleveland right there, right here. Detroit. Now you go to the cities like this, and I'll just put it from New York, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta area. So we'll cover that right there. So I can show you on this one. Here we go. There are those same areas: New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, and Chicago. And you go to this map and you can see Cleveland, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, New York, same areas of red. Now again, based on population, based on crowds of people, based on the network coverage to cover those amount of people, how close proximity those people are. There are a lot of different factors, but again, if you do compare the maps, you can see that the higher, more dense areas of infection do correlate with those dense areas of 5G networks. Now, one other thing I want to point out is that this is all just T-Mobile. Now watch what happens if I do AT&T Mobility. No 5G at all. So it seems that like there's a couple in Cincinnati and Louisville maybe, but it looks that all of the 5G that's getting turned on around the country right now is T-Mobile. So another interesting thing that you could probably put into your research there. So I'm not going to get into any more of that. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.